This is Akashvani Chennai. We bring to you a literary talk on the role of education in changing life, as portrayed by George Bernard Shaw. The talk is delivered by Ms. D.Sneka, Assistant Professor, Alpha Arts and Science College.
The Role of Education in Pygmalion by Bernard Shaw in Changing Life. Education has always been hailed as a great equalizer and the most powerful tool for transforming human life. Yet, few works expose both its extraordinary power and its painful costs as honestly as George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion. Through the radical transformation of Eliza Doolittle, Shaw presents education not merely as the learning of skills, but as profound, disruptive, and double-edged force that reshapes identity, social status, relationship, and one's entire sense of self. In this essay, we explore how education functions as a life-changing instrument in Pygmalion, while also revealing its complexities and hidden consequences. The character of arc of Eliza also celebrates the power of self-education and personal agency. While Higgins provides the initial training, it is Eliza's own intelligence, determination, and adaptability that ultimately allows her to surpass her teacher's expectations. She moves from being a passive subject of education to an active agent who chooses her own future. This aspect makes the play inspiring for students and lifelong learners everywhere, emphasizing that true education ultimately leads to freedom and self-determination. At its core, education in Pygmalion is portrayed as a tool of social alchemy. Professor Higgins, a brilliant phonetician, takes a poor, uneducated Cockney flower girl and, through intensive training in speech, manner, and etiquette, turns her into a woman who can pass as a duchess at an ambassador's garden. This education, in its most practical and visible form, the acquisition of cultural capital. Eliza's mastery of proper English and refined behavior dramatically changes how the world perceives and treats her. Doors that were previously closed swing open. She gains respect, admiration, and new opportunities that her birth and background could never have provided. Shaw thus demonstrates that education can be a powerful vehicle for social mobility capable of rewriting a person's destiny in a deeply class-divided society. However, Shaw refuses to present education as a simple success story. One of the play's greatest strengths is its honest deception of education as a double-edged sword. While it elevates Eliza, it also alienates her. After her transformation, she finds herself suspended between two worlds, no longer fitting into her own lower class life, yet not fully belonging to the upper class world she entered. She painfully asks Higgins, "What am I fit for? What have you left me fit for?" This moment captures the emotional turmoil of the educated individual who has outgrown their origins. The same education that empowers her also disrupts her identity, her relationships, and her sense of belonging. This theme remains deeply relevant today. First generation learners, immigrants, and students from disadvantaged backgrounds often experience the same dislocation. Education lifts them into new professional and social spheres, but it can create distance from family, community, and cultural roots. Shaw shows the true educational transformation is never just intellectual, it is psychological and sociological. It changes not only what a person knows, but who they are. Moreover, Shaw distinguishes between two very different approaches to education through the contrasting characters of Higgins and Colonel Pickering. Higgins' education is arrogant, mechanical, and purely utilitarian. He treats Eliza as a scientific experiment, an object to be reshaped for his own amusement and intellectual satisfaction. In contrast, Pickering's courteous and respectful treatment provides Eliza with dignity that fuels her real growth. Through this contrast, Shaw suggests that the spirit in which education is given matters as much as its content. Respect and empathy, rather than arrogance and control, determine whether education truly liberates or merely exploits. The play also highlights the transformative power of language education. By mastering phonetics and correct pronunciation, Eliza gains a new voice, literally and metaphorically. Shaw understood what modern linguists confirm. Language is not just a means of communication, but a marker of power and identity. In today's world, this insight is strikingly contemporary. Accent modification classes, professional English coaching, and corporate communication training all echoes Higgins' methods. While such education can open doors, it also raises important questions. Should individuals be forced to erase their natural speech to succeed? At what point does education demand the surrender of one's authentic self? Ultimately, Shaw presents education as a process of both creation and destruction. It destroys Eliza's old self and old identity, but it also creates the possibility of new, self-determined life. By the end of the play, Eliza rejects being merely Higgins' creation. She chooses independence and self-respect. This powerful assertion reveals education's highest purpose: not to make a person dependent on their teacher, but to equip them with the strength and awareness to stand on their own. In an age that still believes passionately in education as the ultimate solution to inequality, Pygmalion serves as both an inspiration and cautionary tale. It reminds us that the real measure of education is not just the transformation it produces on the outside, but the strength, self-awareness, and humanity it nurtures within. Furthermore, Pygmalion underscores the importance of emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills as vital components of holistic education. While Higgins excels in the technical aspects of phonetics, he remains woefully deficient in understanding human emotions and relationships. Eliza's growth, by contrast, encompasses not only refined speech but also the development of resilience, assertiveness, and emotional maturity. Shaw implies that genuine education must nurture the heart as well as the mind. Without empathy and emotional awareness, intellectual training alone produces incomplete human being. The play also invites reflection on the ethical responsibilities of educators. Higgins casually disregards for Eliza's well-being raises timeless questions about the moral obligations that accompany the power to shape another person's life. True education, Shaw suggests, should never treat students as mere projects or experiments. Educators must recognize the sacred truth placed in them and safeguard the dignity and autonomy of those they teach, lest their efforts cause more harm than good. Shaw further uses Eliza's journey to critique the rigid class structure of Edwardian England. Education becomes a subversive force that exposes the artificiality of social hierarchies. By proving that a flower girl can convincingly perform aristocracy, the play demolishes the myth that breeding and bloodlines determine worth. In doing so, Shaw champions meritocracy based on ability and effort rather than accident of birth, a radical idea that continues to challenge entrenched system of privilege today. Another significant dimension is the role of mentorship and supportive environments in successful educational outcomes. Colonel Pickering's kindness and financial support create the stable foundation Eliza needs to flourish. The contrast with Higgins highlights how nurturing guidance and resources can accelerate transformation. Modern educators and policymakers can draw valuable lessons here. Access to quality education must be paired with emotional support and practical resources to produce meaningful, sustainable change. Eliza's eventual independence also illustrates the entrepreneurial spirit that education can awaken. After leaving Higgins, she establishes her own flower shop, applying her newly acquired skills in practical and innovative ways. This development celebrates education, capacity to foster self reliance and economic independence. Shaw presents an optimistic vision wherein educated individuals not only survive but create their own opportunities, contributing productively to society. Moreover, the play anticipates contemporary debates around cultural assimilation versus cultural preservation in education. Eliza's transformation forces her to navigate questions of authenticity and identity that resonate strongly with multicultural societies today. Should education primarily equip individuals to assimilate into dominant cultures for success, or should it empower them to retain and celebrate their heritage? Shaw leaves this tension unresolved, encouraging readers to grapple with the balance between adaptation and authenticity. Pygmalion also emphasizes the lifelong nature of education. Eliza's story does not end with the ambassador's garden party. Her real education continues as she learns to negotiate her newly reality, assert her rights, and build meaningful relationships. This mirrors the modern understanding that education extends far beyond formal schooling into continuous personal development and adaptation to life's challenges. Finally, through Eliza's triumph, Shaw reaffirms the enduring human capacity for reinvention. Education, despite its costs and contradictions, remains a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. By daring to dream beyond her circumstances and committing herself to growth, Eliza embodies the highest ideal of education, not as passive observation of knowledge, but as active, courageous pursuit of a better self and a better life. In this sense, Pygmalion ultimately offers a message of profound hope. With determination and the right opportunities, individuals can indeed transcend the limitation imposed upon them and author their own destinies. In conclusion, the Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion offers a nuanced and enduring perspective on the role of education. In changing human life, education in the play is revealed as a force that simultaneously liberating and destabilizing, empowering and alienating. It can raise a person from the gutter to highest society, but it cannot guarantee happiness or belonging. It changes lives, it demands heavy price. Shaw's message is clear. While education remains one of the humanity's greatest tools for progress and mobility, it must be pursued with respect for the individual's dignity, autonomy, and inner worth. Only then can education fulfill its noble prize. Not merely changing how a person speaks or appears, but helping them discover and claim their true self. Thank you.
And that was Ms. D.Sneka, Assistant Professor, Alpha Arts and Science College, Chennai, bringing to you the perspective of George Bernard Shaw on the role of education in changing life. This program came to you from the studios of Akashvani, Chennai.